Hello my dear friends, you are welcome to Joe Newton online class. In this video, we are going to work on differential calculus, that is differentiation, popularly referred as the y, the x. So we are given a task, let us solve it now. If y is equal to 3 root x minus 2 over root x, we are asked to find the derivative of y. Of course, we are looking for the y over the x. Now, first of all, in solving this, the first thing we need to do is to reinterpret this expression or this equation. That is, it will now become y is equal to 3x raised to the power 1 over 2. How? Because remember that if we have x raised to the power 1 over 2, ordinarily, hello my dear friends, you are welcome to Joe Newton online class. In this video, we are going to look at differential calculus, that is differentiation, that is the y, the x, as we fondly refer to it. Now, we have a task on the board. The question says, if y is equal to 3 root x minus 2 over root x, we are asked to find the derivative of y, that is the y over the x. Now, let us solve this, applying the simple rule of differentiation. To solve this, the first thing we do here, we are given that y is equal to 3 root x minus 2 over root x. Very simple. Let us rearrange or interpret this in a simple way. It will now mean that y is equal to 3x raised to the power 1 over 2 minus 2x raised to the power minus 1 over 2. I know you'll be surprised. How? It's very simple because from indices, if you have x raised to the power 1 over 2, it is something as square root of what? X from indices. And from indices as well, if you have x raised to the power maybe minus x to the power minus 1 over 2, it is like having 1 over x raised to the power what? 1 over 2. So this is implication. X to the power minus 1 over 2 means 1 over x to the power 1 over 2, which will give us which will now give us 1 over square root of what? X, which implies this. So this law of indices, rules of indices will help us. So in indices, when you have raised to the power minus, it means 1 over. So we have just applied this here. So raised to the power 1 over 2 means square root. And minus here means inverse 1 over. So with this now we can continue. Then you now recall that our differential rule, that if we have if y is equals to x, then the y over the x is equals to x raised to the power n minus 1, like n into x to the power n minus 1. These are basic rule of differentiation. So remember that if you have y equals to x, then the y over the x gives us what? Nx raised to the power n minus 1. That is the rule we are going to apply here. With this basic rule of differentiation, we can simply work on this. Assume that we have that y equals to x to the power n. So from our basic rule, if y is equals to x raised to the power n, therefore the y over the x is nx raised to the power n minus 1. This is basic rule. So apply this rule here now. We now have that dy over the x will be equal to, so this is what this means. It means this. Now applying this basic rule now, we will now have that for here dy over the x will now be, applying this rule, will now be 1 over 2 times 3, 1 over 2 times 3x raised to power 1 over 2 minus 1. Then minus, the power here is minus 1 over 2 minus 1 over 2 times 2x raised to power minus 1 over 2 minus 1. So this is what we are going to have. So we are just applying this basic rule of differentiation, that if you have y equals to x raised to power n, our dy over dx will now be n the power multiplied. That is the simple rule of differentiation, the basic rule. Therefore, which you can say the formula. Therefore, the power here, n times x raised to power n minus 1. So this is what we are applying here. So we have that 3x raised to power 1 over 2. It will become 1 over 2 will come here. 1 over 2 times 3x, you can put dots, times 3x raised to power 1 over 2 minus 1. The same thing we did here. Then minus, which is the minus here. The minus we have here. So minus, you have minus, there's minus 1 over 2 here. Minus 1 over 2, which is the power here, times 2x raised to power minus 1 over 2 minus 1. So we continue. That will give us 1 over 2 times 2. That will give us 3 over 2 x raised to power 1 over 2 minus 1 minus 1. When you have half minus 1, you remain half. So you have raised to power 1 over 2. That half minus 1 will give you minus half. Yeah, half minus 1 will give you minus half. Because if you have something like, if you have half minus 1 is greater than half. So our answer will be minus what? Half. That is, if you are owing 1 and you pay half, you are still owing half. If you are owing 100 naira and you pay 15 naira, still owing 15 naira. That's what it implies here. So half minus 1 is what? Half. Minus half. Then we come to this place. Minus times minus here will give us what? Plus. Minus times minus will give us plus. Then we come here. 1 over 2 times 2 will give us what? We cancel each other. So half cancel, 2 cancel 2 here. It remains 1. 1 times x, we are left with what? X. Because 2 cancel 2, 1. Half times minus times minus plus. Then we come to this place. Raised to power minus 1 over 2 minus 1. If you are owing somebody 1 over half and you are owing another person 1, so what we are owing now is 1 whole number 1 over 2. So that will give us minus 1 over 2 minus 1 whole number will be equals to minus 1 whole number 1 over 2. Because you are owing somebody half, you are owing another person 1. Totally, what you are owing is 1 whole number 1 over 2. And the 1 whole number 1 over 2 simply means 2 times 1, 2 plus 1, 3, which goes to minus 3 over 2. So what we have here is raised to power minus 3 over 2. So you are owing minus 3 over 2, which is minus 1 whole number 1 over 2. Then we continue. At this point, we now have that, at this point now we have that 3 over 2 x to the power minus 1 over 2 plus x to the power minus 3 over 2. So we continue further. That will give us, in other words, it implies 3. It implies 3 over 2. This means 3 over 2. 3 over 2 dot, or let me use times, 3 over 2 dot 1 over x raised to the power 1 over 2, because this is minus, then plus this side becomes, we have x raised to the power minus 3 over 2, which means 1 over x raised to the power 3 over 2. By implication, this is what this implies. So this is 3 over 2 dot 1 over x to the power 1 over 2. That's x to the power half. Because of this minus, plus here, this implies 1 over x raised to the power 3 over 2 because of this minus here. So finally, our dx, our dy over dx becomes 3 times 1 is 3 over this 1 over 2 raised to the power 1 over 2 means square root, like I interpreted before. So that will become 3 over 2 root what? X. How? Because x raised to the power 1 over 2 means square root of x. Then plus, you come to this side, this will become 1 over, this will become cube root. Sorry, but that will become square root of x because of this square root of x raised to the power 3. Because if you have x raised to the power 3 over 2, it means square root of x all raised to the power of what? 3. That is it. So this is what we have at this point. So that's our answer to this. So if you look at this, it is very interesting, but it is technical. So our final answer to this question, the derivative of this of y, of this function given us, the function given in differential calculus here, is 3 over 2 root x plus 1 over square root of x raised to the power 3. That is the answer. I believe you can tackle similar task observing the rule or with the rule, applying the rule of differentiation when you see it. Thank you so much for paying attention to this particular class. For more of these solutions in physics and mathematics, visit my YouTube channel at Joe Newton Online Class. Subscribe for notifications. Join me on my Facebook page at Joe Newton Online Class. Also on